Okay, now I'm going to teach you what's called sumac, and it looks like this. You could either do it a half pass, and this is both ways. It'll show up more with like a thicker, like that thick white. See, it gives it a lot more texture. But I'm going to show you what it looks like with the acrylic yellow, with the piece that I'm working on. So I usually measure a little more for sumac, so let's do 4 times across. If we have to cut some, that's fine, but it's better to have more than less. Oops. Okay, so now I'm going to start with a pigtail on that very first warp thread. It doesn't matter where our weft is because the sumac works differently. So I'm just going to pigtail that putting the end between the first and second warp thread. Then I'm going to wrap around to the left, go under the first one. Okay, so we have our pigtail. Now I'm going to go over to the right, and then I'm going to go under one to the left. Again, over 2 to the right. So I'm on this one. It's in between the second and third. I'm going to go over the third and fourth, under the fourth, in between the third and fourth one. It's kind of like a wrap around. So I'm in between the third and fourth now. I'm going to go over the fourth and fifth, and then under the fifth to the left. You can kind of just push it down to keep it in place. It starts giving it this little like, twisted look. But then if you go back, you'll see it looks more like a braid. So I'm between the fourth and fifth, going over the fifth and sixth, under the sixth, in between the fifth and sixth. And just keep doing that till you hit the end. So I'm in between these two, going over this one, and then under that right one in the middle. I'm in between these two, going over this one, and then pulling it in between the two to the left. You can see here, my weft is in between these two where it's coming out. So I'm going to go over this one, and then through the middle. Okay, I'm in between these two. I'm going to go over this one, and then in between the two. So now my weft is in between these two coming out the end. So I'm going to go over this one, and then in between the two. So we're going to the right 1, 2, and then to the left 1 in between the two. My weft end's coming out here. So I'm going to go over 1, 2 to the right, and then in between those two, pulling to the left. So weft end here, 1, 2, in between the two. Weft end here, over 2, in between those. Weft end here, over 1, 2, in between those. All right, so now we've reached the end. You could end it here with a pigtail and you would just get this twisted look. But now I'm gonna show you going back to give it like a braided look. So on the way back, we're just gonna go around under 2, That pigtails it there. Actually, sorry, under one. I'm just gonna go around that first one. Now, we're gonna go over to 1, 2 to the left, and then in between the two. So it's just the reverse. So our weft ends here. We're gonna go over this one, and then between those two. So I'm going over these two, and then in between them. You can see it's starting to have like a braided look to it here. So over here, so I'm gonna go over these two, and then back in between the both of them. And here, I'm gonna go over 1, 2, and then back around that left one. And here, going over 1, 2 to the left, and then between them. And here, I'm gonna go over 1, 2 to the left, and in between those two. And here, over 1, 2, and in between them. You can see my weft is coming out here. I'm gonna go over these two, and then in between them. And just keep doing that all the way to the end. And then we'll pigtail it off. So my weft ends here. I'm gonna go over these two, and then I'm gonna come in between them. Okay, so now we're at the last two. So instead of that same thing, I'm going to, well, I guess I will go over the two. We're gonna go in between them. Or no, I'm not, sorry. I'm gonna go over this one, under this one. Then we want to pigtail it. So I'm gonna go in between all of this so that it tacks it down. All right, and there you have it, sumac. You can see this gives a little more texture too. But if you use the thicker weft, it's going to stand out more.